Hey, what's up guys? Sam here, and I'll be doing the Insights video for Friday, July 24th, 2026. So I'd like to start the video by covering what we covered in the premium video for the folks in the Mastering the Trade room, and then I'd like to give you a couple picks that I think are going around the room and that grade out pretty highly with squeezes. So let's start here. It is a little bit of a recap of what we covered on Wednesday's video, but I think that that's all I need, right? So I'm going to give you kind of the big picture, and then, which is the higher probability, and then I'm going to give you the other probability set of what would invalidate these trades, right? So I'm going to talk about just one big picture thing today before we get into the picks, but the big picture thing that I'm going to talk about is an umbrella that covers basically the whole market. So let's dive in. So the level that I gave the folks in the Mastering the Trade room, I'm going to give you two levels, and I think they're both important for different reasons. So the first level is going to be 28,700 on the NQ. This is the Nasdaq futures. Okay. Now, why is that level important? That level is important because we broke down through that level, but we have not been able to get back above that level. So essentially, the way that I'm looking at it is the bulls need a spark. They need some momentum. They need some ignition. If they can get through 28,700 on the NQ, that's the first part of the momentum ignition process, right? So that would be the first level, and it's kind of a middle important level. The real big important level is going to be the same one that I gave you last week, which is going to be $710 on the QQQ. 710. If you get two daily closes above that, I think this thing's going to slingshot, and you're going to make, kind of a blow-off top situation. Now, I want to stress this. That is the lower probability set. I'm not entirely sure what the probabilities are there. I would say it's probably 66-34 kind of thing, but be aware of that one as well, just in case we don't talk before that happens. Here's why I think it's a lower probability that it actually does that. The reason is if I look at the Qs, they are now in an official bear score. The weekly chart's taken some damage. You have a preliminary sell signal here on the weekly chart, which aren't typically friendly when those hit, and this is out of kilter, which I've told you this for weeks now, so hopefully you're prepared for that. But now, more importantly, see this caution label? Yeah, so that caution label is like the most important signal on my charts, and it's basically flashing right now, right? I have not seen that caution label end positively when it triggers. It's just a very good signal usually. It's a probability, of course. It's not 100%, but it is a very high probability of something bad about to happen. So that's the big picture, and of course, you can see the levels here. So the huge level that I have currently is 83. That's a big fib zone, as well as the previous lows. 83 on the Qs. After that, I have 69.43, and then after that, I have a very nice confluence of support down here, close to the daily 200. So in the event that it gets to the daily 200, I do think it's probably a snap buy, but that might be a conversation for a later week. So those are the levels you need to know. That's the signals you need to see. Hopefully you can extrapolate that if I show you the QQQ, I'm essentially showing you everything for the most part. Let me show you this. So this is the sheet where the scores are stored for the true momentum. And again, really, I just want to focus on a couple things, and then we'll get to the picks. So the main thing I want to focus on here is that the daily squeezes are all basically engaged alongside with a two-day and a 3-day squeeze. The short-term column, strength, you see how most of those are red, and you see how the long-term, most of those are gray, right? So what's happening here? The short-term is starting to hurt the long-term. Right? Enough damage to the short term eventually creates damage to the long term. This is not enough damage yet to call, for anything major, but in the event that the short term does not improve, I think that's an issue, right? So what have we been looking at in the room? Well, last video on Wednesday I told you JPM and Merck for bad markets and Nvidia for good markets. I don't know if NVIDIA will make the cut this week. So this week we have real estate, healthcare, financials at the top of the list here, right? So if we scroll down to the stocks, the best stock on the board right now is actually JPM. But there's a couple of other stocks down here that have some really good setups. You know, Merck has a great setup. Amgen has a great setup. Well has a great setup. J&J might have a great setup. I picked some of that up today. So let me show you a couple of them here. I know that one has a great setup. HWM. There's a few here that actually might be decent. But notice that there's no heavy hitters. There's no like Apples or, well, Apple actually is there. The one the one outlier. There's no Mag 7 outside of Apple in that list. So let me show you a couple of things that we're trading in the room. So the big one here is kind of like the big overarching theme, I think, of mostly what I'm going to show you in this video is healthcare. So some of the traders have been trading the drug stocks, which makes sense. So this is kind of the bigger picture in terms of what I'm seeing. This is XLV pulling into the cloud, bouncing again, making a higher low off the cloud. And I think that this works best in a bad market. So I do want to stress that. A lot of these picks, they look good right now, but that's just because the Qs don't look good. So if you have a day where the Qs are just flying, these are not going to be the picks to make. But if you have a day where the market's kind of sideways, the Qs are down, I think the money flows into healthcare. So hopefully the setup is pretty straight up, right? It's got nothing but buy signals and a squeeze. We like that. We go with that. Now, that's actually not the best thing on the board, though, right? So this Wednesday, I brought you Merck. Now, to be fair, I took off my Merck today just because we caught a nice little pop, and it's pretty close to earnings. But this is kind of what I'm looking for, right? This is a very clean chart, almost as perfect as it gets. This is the best signal that this indicator is capable of when it says strong thrust plus SS. SS means slingshot. So that happened here, and Merck is an absolute doll and looks way better than XLV. Not to say that XLV is a slouch, but it looks better than XLV. One that Taylor picked up today is going to be Amgen. So yet another one here that, and this one might even have more juice because of the weekly squeeze. So here on Amgen, very nice pattern. Same idea, right? Like I'm not bringing you anything that's going to be too different. We started off with healthcare, which is XLV. We moved over to Merck, which is under that umbrella, and we're still under that umbrella with Amgen. So I like all of those. We had a nice little quick trade in HWM, and I'm going to be looking to get back in. This is not healthcare. This is more aerospace. So they make parts for planes, and this is a very nice looking chart. Probably the best looking chart on the board at the moment. Like that is as clean as it gets. I just need an entry. So I think maybe my entry is closer to about 284 on this. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I had some yesterday. I've sold it this morning, and I'm looking to get back in. Probably the best chart on the board. In the event that the market goes bullish, one chart that I've been seeing that has amazing resilience is Dell. So even though semiconductor sold off, even though hardware sold off really hard today, and Dell is in that group, Dell has a lot of strength. Now, you need a decent market for this one, so this one's going to be separate from the rest. This is not a A+ pick by any measure. It's just a pick that if the market is bullish for tech, this one probably is going to fly. And what else? Let me give you one more. I'll give you a little short. So in terms of shorts, this was the worst thing on the board. This is DXZY, or DXYZ, excuse me. And it's already been beaten up pretty good, to be fair, but it's got this squeeze, and it's the worst chart on the board at the moment. So what would this be? This would be all the space stuff. So even though I might not short this directly, I've just never traded it, this would be like SpaceX, Rocket Lab, anything relating to space. If this signal is true on DXYZ, then it's a short across the entire space sector. So make of that what you want. And I'll give you one more. Since I bought it today. We'll see if it's any good. So I got out of Merck and then I bought Lilly, which is a lateral move if I've ever heard one. And it's not as clean as Merck, but it has a squeeze and it has a 4-hour squeeze, and I'm bullish on XLV and I'm bullish on the drug stocks. So this is the biggest one of them all. Looking to see if Merck here can play ball in front of earnings and potentially retest this previous high at 12.50. So that one we just bought today. My favorite pick, I think, is actually still Merck, HWM. And if you don't want any specific risk, XLV looks like a contender. Those are all trades for mediocre to down tech, and the one trade I see that looks pretty good for tech in the event that it rallies is going to be Dell. Alright guys, that's my time. Thanks as always. If you're watching on the YouTube, make sure you drop us a like, drop us a comment. It does help. Just let us know what you're trading. Let us know what you're having for dinner. Anything in the comments section will do. You can drop us an emoji if you like. For dinner, I'm going to have steak and eggs, and I have 2 watermelons in my fridge. And guess what? I'm going to eat both of them. That's my challenge. So let us know what you're having for dinner. Let us know what you're having, what you're trading in the comment section. It helps us out with the algorithm, and I'll see you for the next video. Cheers.
Hey traders, this is Sam with Simpler Trading. I want to thank you for watching today's video. Hopefully you found the information in it helpful. If you did, leave us a like, leave us a comment. It really does help us out with the algorithm. And if you want to see us trade live with our own real money and be part of the community, come and check us out at simplertrading.com.